the gentleman from Slocum Ranch. How are you?
What's going on, buddy?
We're doing good, John. How about yourself?
I'm going all right. We got Brandon and Joe from the Slocum Ranch Show.
Yes,
Couple
sir.
of couple of country boys.
Yes, sir.
And so I'm a big fan of your podcast. They have a podcast available wherever you stream podcasts, and big fan. And I think we have to do the honor of cracking a beer for this
Yes,
episode
you
because
have
that's
to.
what you guys do.
Yes.
That's it.
So
Every episode. That's from day one.
That's a staple.
That's what we've done.
I love it. And I love yeah, it's crisp, it's cold.
Oh, wait, that's the best moment of all day.
Yeah. So let's do it. Cheers.
All
We
right.
brought some beer.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys. Oh, perfect as always. In the first sip.
Ooh.
Got to be the first.
I don't know if we
Ooh.
didn't get
Oh
a good.
fuck. Oh, see that right there.
Ooh. It's
I'll take it right in
Thursday.
the soul.
It's Thursday, February what, 8th?
February 8th. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Oh,
We're
shit.
recording.
Oh, God.
So anything we talk about today, it might be very old news once this is released.
Really?
Because we're probably looking at like a week or two. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. Thanks
Right?
for joining me.
Thirsty Thursday.
Yeah,
Thirsty
it's
Thursday.
It's all good.
Yeah, you guys. So I love what you guys do. Slocum Ranch Show. Been following you guys for a while. You guys even got some merch printed
Yeah.
through me at Axelrad way back when. I think you're
Yeah.
wearing it right now, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I've been following you guys, and the tagline is random, relatable, real, and you guys nail all those things in your episodes. And I wanted you guys to talk about just about your show, but about what Slocum Ranch is and who you guys are, and kind of why you started it, and from one podcaster to another. I just wanted to kind of interview you guys. Probably different being on the other end of the. Well, I mean, you guys don't do interviews. You guys talk about topics, which I love.
Mhm.
So
Right.
yeah, before I get further, you guys tell me about Slocum Ranch.
Where
Well-
we start, buddy?
All right. Well, I guess the easiest way to start it is from square one. So Brandon and
From
I
the
have,
top.
Brandon and I have been friends since high school. Where we've known each other since high school, grew up together.
Mhm.
I grew up in the township over from where we live right now, Slocum Township.
Slocum native.
Yeah, Brandon is an original. He was born here,
Slocum original.
but we were friends all through high school,
Mhm.
and just kind of continued, through out of high school and just in life. I mean, we went our separate ways for a little while, as people usually do. Life and stuff. If you listen to the show, I got married very young. Kind of didn't necessarily move away, but I was just a little farther away than here, about a half hour away. And so I lost touch with a lot of my friends, local here. But then I purchased my house in the township and just kind of reconnected with everybody. You had just gotten home.
Yep. So that was kind of, I think, the biggest, really, not separate us, but where our paths separated. I mean, I went off to the military like an idiot, but now we're back.
Thank
and
you
once
for
we
your
came
service.
back, I thank you. I think just kind of where we re-intervened at life, it just, the stuff we were going through in life, we kind of just, obviously being best friends for how long, we clicked it back off, and we just had this idea of, every time we hang out, especially with just us, with the big group, it's always a good time.
Yeah.
Beers or not, it's always a good time. And I think that's where that's really where we had the idea, was just sitting in the garage, man.
It started off, if I remember correctly, it started off mainly as just not a joke, but it was kind of like, everybody's doing vlogs. Everybody's on YouTube doing vlogs, showing their lives. And we were kind of like, oh, we're not really, I don't know. People usually like that do vlogs have a following.
Yeah,
they
follow me around all day.
Yeah,
This guy sucks.
they want to see, exciting things. And we don't necessarily do exciting things. We do normal everyday shit, but it's just trying to, we were like, oh, we should do a YouTube channel. And that was where it originally started.
Yep.
Slocum Ranch was supposed to be just like an everyday kind of like vlog YouTube channel. and which we still do have the YouTube side of things. We don't have our content out yet because we're a lot of things in the mix.
A lot to go through.
But you know, we started out with that, and it was like, you know, we'll see, maybe we'll go with that route. And then we were sitting at a buddy's house the one night, just having some beers, and it came to be, we're like, oh, like a podcast. Like, why don't we start a podcast?
Yeah, record this shit.
Yeah, instead of doing video, we'll do audio, and we'll try and get our point across, and just kind of like, it was kind of like a talk your shit kind of thing, you know, just kind of like vent and get a lot of stuff off of our chest, which we both had quite a bit of. Brandon was actually living with me at the time, and also our buddy Kevin was as well. But you know, we were like, oh, you know, we're both going through some shit. Like, let's
talk about it.
Yeah, it was an avenue for us to kind of like vent and not necessarily. I didn't want to say vent to other people, but it was just also to put it out there to, like, in our earlier episodes, I say it quite a bit, is like, you're not alone. You know, with people that are going through this kind of stuff that we went through and feeling the way we feel, it's a big thing, you know, and it's a lot of stuff that people don't talk about necessarily. So just wanted to reach out with that.
And I think that's a really broader slogan on the random relatable reel, because there's times where obviously, you know, you listen to us, there's some times where it's like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? But then there's other times where it's, hey man, like, you know, thank you guys. You know, we've had people reach out to us and thank us for talking about some of these topics that we do. And it's, you know, let alone to have even one person reach out and say, hey, that helped me through that shit. That sucked. And that's huge. You know what I mean? Helping somebody through a hard time, just to even make them smile at the end of the day. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's so worth it. I mean, it's funny you talk about, like, you just want to record and all that kind of stuff. Like, I started this because I just wanted, and well, even before I started this particular one, I just wanted to have like audio documentation for when I'm older. I wanted I could just interview my friends and just like, you know, because my memory is like my I think strongest like thing about me. Like, I can remember things from like 20 years ago. I'm old. You guys are young. I'm old. But like, my memory is what I hold on to. Like, my friends, I'll bring up stuff and they're like, how the fuck do you remember that? I'm like, it was just an important part of my life. And I hold on to that. And I'm worried that one day when I'm real old, like, my memory will be the first thing to go. I want to shout out to my wife, like, Amanda, get the tapes, get my tapes. You know, and just put the headphones on and like kind of like remember, you know, the good old days, so to speak. The reason I bring that up is because it's cool to have an audio documentation, and what I like about you guys a lot is the fact that you guys have like a weekly like topic. And you guys don't, it's, you know, people say, oh, we're unfiltered, like, oh, we're this, we're that. You guys are definitely unfiltered to the point where I listen to this, and I'm 41 years old, and Brandon, I think you just turned 30. Congratulations.
When this is aired, I'll be 30. On the 11th, we'll be on the hill.
All right. And then Joe's not too far behind, but you guys are young, but you've had a lot of life experiences. But like, some of the stuff I listen to, I'm like, oh man, are they gonna like regret saying this stuff or having this like documented and out there on the internet? And I mean, to me, fuck it, who cares, right?
That's it.
But maybe when you turn 40, you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have called my ex-wife, you know, selling her butthole for $5. Like, maybe I should have said that. I don't know. Maybe. But I love it. I mean, it's great content. Like, again, going back to what you said, like, it's stuff that people are going through. Like, I mean, I remember listening, like, you were like, you know, just down and out, and like anybody would be, right? Like, you just found out that your marriage is over, regardless if you were married young or not. It's just like, that's like a moment you'll never forget as long as you live. I mean, maybe it won't be the top of your mind forever. It probably isn't at all now, right? But like, it's part of your life. It's part of who you are. It's like, that will never go away, right? You know, it's interesting. So
no, absolutely. And you know, I appreciate you saying that, and you know, we appreciate it as well. And that was our thing that we kind of based this off of, like we said, with our random relatable reel, is we, you know, I'll speak for myself. I won't speak for Brandon, but myself specifically, I was in like that funk. And anybody that listens to the podcast I think you can kind of tell in just my, I don't know if it's my demeanor or if it's the way I sound, just the way my voice
He's
comes
happy
across.
now.
The way my voice comes across, you could tell that I was in a real dark, deep space, you know. And this was my avenue to get that out there. But then also, what really brought it to my attention too, to reach out and to try and do something good out of something bad that happened, like turn it into something good, was the fact that, and I talked about it in the one episode, all of the people that came to me when I was going through what I was going through with my separation, because it was so sudden, and it had to do with, you know, what the world that we live in today. So, you know, we throw a lot of shade at the OnlyFans thing and whatnot because in our opinion, truthfully, it's just something that, you know, where has the morals gone in the United States? You know, like where
Not how I was raised.
it's
Right.
almost like I don't want to say lawless, but it kind of is. Like nobody cares. Like you had said to us about, you know, are we going to regret having that on the internet in a couple years? Well, the people that are out there doing what they're doing, selling their bodies on the internet, which yeah, they're making a mint off of it.
They're gonna regret it
When their grandkids are around. You know, how are they going to feel about that? Because that never goes away.
Right.
You know,
Right.
stuff on
one
the internet,
screenshot, you're done.
exactly. Well, it never goes away. It's always somewhere. But you know, everybody that came to me when I was in that time of I'll even say it was a time of depression. You know, they came to me one on one. You know, there was a couple people that stood out, specifically Sean, well, both Sean's. They were there, you know, and helped me out with that and talked to me. Eddie, there was a bunch of guys that were there for me, and they were just like giving me advice that they went through it themselves, and that's where it kind of clicked for me. And I was like, you know, I'm going through something right now. I'm feeling some sort of way about it. Is there a way, like I have to find a way to be able to convey this information to other people, because you know, we lost a good friend of ours, Wesley, to suicide, and it was over a woman, and it was horrible. It was when I was 21. He didn't even turn 20, or I'm sorry, he didn't even turn 21. He was 20, and he passed away. And I never want anybody to ever go through that pain, that you know, that suffering that we all had to go through. His parents, obviously tenfold, but that was a real big driving force for me specifically. Like I said, I don't want to speak for you, Brandon, but for myself, that was a really big driving force. So if I could reach out to even just one person to try and like get them to think and get them to talk about it and go, okay, well, there is light at the end of the tunnel. That's what my mission is, solely as Joe from the Slocum Ranch Show, is to reach out and try and show people that there is that light, you know. That
sunshine follows the rain.
Exactly. Yeah. So we use comedy. we use a lot of comedy for that, you know, to convey the message. And you know, just as well as anybody else does, we go from very serious topics to then joking and laughing. So it's like we try and use comedy as a little bit of a brighter, like to brighten it up, and that's what it does.
Kind of just realized that shitty women started this podcast. That's kind of because I mean, he was going through a shit with, you know, his marriage, and bitch I was dealing with. I don't like using that word, but the woman I was dealing with, you know, was obviously had malicious intent the whole time. So it's, you know, 2 heartbreaks, and we were like, dude, we gotta vent. And it was just, I mean, I've always used comedy for pretty much everything. When it's, life's not that serious, you know. I mean, you got to make the best of everything, and we talk about it a lot in our episodes, the mindset being the biggest thing. You know, it could be in a terrible scenario, but it just, like Joe said, you see the light at the end of it, and you just got to keep driving on, you know.
Absolutely.
And that was kind of where that's really the basis of the Slocum Ranch, is shining light and using comedy to make light of some shitty situations.
Yeah. Well, you guys have really good chemistry. And I love, like, you know, the use of comedy and when you're talking about serious stuff too. And you know, I love, like I said before, I love the you know, weekly topics. And you know, this show is very unscripted, as there's no, you know, we could talk about whatever. And I really like the fact that your show is so, like, kind of themed. It's like people wait until the next week, like, oh, I wonder what those guys are going to talk about this week.
Mhm.
How do you guys come up with these topics? Because like they're good. I mean, like I'll read these for the audience just because, just for some examples. But
Oh boy.
we just had no, it was like America's Agenda and life online, something we all we're all living life online, right? Uh,
Mhm.
Bad
Absolutely.
Texter, Basic AF, that was a good one. Um, Uneducated, I really like that one too. Just talking about, um, and if I'm wrong, correct me, but just kind of talking about like, is college for everyone? Maybe it's not.
Mhm.
And that's something like, people think about, but like not everyone talks about because I think we're still so brainwashed into you gotta get good grades in high school and get good grades in college and get the house and the white picket fence and like that. The American dream is like that picture is very different these days.
Oh, absolutely.
Um, Trying to think of some other ones here that just are passing me by. Woke. I didn't listen to that one, but I can imagine what it's about. But the question was like, how do you um, pick these topics and I feel like they're all really well thought out. Like, do you have a basic
Uh,
outline for everything, or do you just kind of go off the cuff?
well,
Off the rip.
yeah, it's
Crack a beer and we go. I mean, there is we do shoot this shit a little bit before
yeah.
we finally hit record, but for the most part, I mean, there's no bulletins, nothing. If
We
just work that well.
tried, so we'll give a little bit of a secret away, is that we tried to do that in the very beginning. We tried to. We had a whiteboard. We had I don't know, a 4x8 whiteboard that we used, and we would put bullet points, and we'd come up with we would sit here for uh, we would sit here for 45 minutes to an hour and just come up with an episode title. And then we'd have to try and figure out the bullet points to hit off of the episode title.
Mm-hmm.
We tried going that route and it just did not work because we figured out that we were just stressing ourselves out.
We were trying to make the content instead of letting it happen.
Instead of just naturally letting it flow. And some of our best early episodes are just when we sit down and we're just like, let's talk about this today. And a lot of people, I tell a lot of people this too when people ask us about the podcast in person, like if they see us out and about. And it's funny, they're like, oh, how do you come up with your episode? Just like you said, how do you come up with the topics? And I tell them, and they're usually astonished. And I really, truly, like, I feel they don't believe us when we tell them. We don't know what we're talking about until 10 minutes before we sit down.
Yeah.
It literally Scout's honor. That is that's how it is.
It's magic.
I show up because obviously the studio is over here at Brandon's, and I'll show up, and whatever time it is that we get together to record, I'll show up. We'll stand in the garage. We'll drink a beer and go, "What do you want to talk about this week?" And it'll be like, "Oh, this is something that's why we hit a lot of our current events is because we go off of like what's going on in the news, what is something big that just
there is
happened.
a baseline,
and if it's not something, like if we can't pick out something major that happened, or even if it's just something that we just want to kind of like glance off of and like touch on but not spend a lot of time on, we'll just kind of go be like, how you feeling today? What are we like? Do you have a gripe? Because like myself in particular, my job entails a lot of driving. So my 9 to 5, I should say, because this is also our second job for us. But my 9 to 5 consists of a lot of driving. So I listen to podcasts, I listen to the radio quite a bit, and I'll get ideas, and I'll kind of just like real quick, not as I'm driving, but I'll real quick jot it down on my phone and just say, okay, this is something that we could talk about. We can go and elaborate and give our own opinion on somebody else's, not necessarily piggybacking, because we don't really want to do that. We want to keep our content original, but just using it as an episode topic, if you will, like just something like a bullet point to hit off of. We need one.
There's one, so it's not just one broad baseline that we just hover around and then fucking go off in 6 different directions and then ultimately end back full circle, but it works every time. So
squirrely.
we're still going with it.
He's writing them down while I was driving. Don't let him fool you.
No, I'd never do that.
Oh, it's voice to text, right? Voice to text. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Voice to text.
No, but you guys have,
Yeah.
you have 92 episodes out there. I forget when you
Mhm.
started. I think I ran into you guys in like early 2001.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
it's hard. It's hard. Doing this and staying consistent, staying dedicated is hard. And people
Yep.
think, oh, it's easy. You just, and that's why I can't remember the numbers, millions of podcasts, but most podcasts don't make it past I don't know if it's the 7th episode or the 10th episode or whatever the hell it is.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's tough.
And that's all stuff that we talked about when we first
Yeah.
started. We were like, dude, I mean, what do we have to lose? It might
Yeah.
be something, might be nothing, but I mean, here we are 4 seasons later.
Yeah. The real we hit a roadblock in season 2
Mhm.
where we just didn't have time. It was a lot of life.
Life got in the way big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. It mainly was just work, and then also just personal obligations that took over. And we, a lot of our loyal listeners know that we took a hiatus for a couple months, and then even from season 2 to season 3, because we start our seasons with the new year, and there was, I think we had it was our Christmas episode or our New Year's episode to end season 2, and then season 3 didn't start until, holy Christ, I think it was like 6 months in. Like we were like 5, 6 months in. Now that was us getting all of our new gear, our new boom mics.
That was the upgrade.
Yeah, setting up the studio, because this all started actually over at my place, in the basement at the bar, and then kind of moved around to the house a little bit as we needed to move.
Trying to find what sounded best.
Yeah, the best audio quality to give to our listeners, and then we just decided that we were going to do an actual studio setup down here. So and you had the space for it, so we just moved it over here. But a couple miles down the road, no big deal. But we had that really long discussion between the two of us with season 2, like, what happens when we lose content? What happens if we lose content? What are we going to do? Because we're going to struggle to continue and to make it something that people want to listen to. Because let's face it, there's, like you said, there's millions of podcasts out there that don't make it past episode 7, episode 10, because they might start out hot, or they might not. They might start out low, which we were ecstatic when we got our first like 5 downloads. It was like we were jumping for joy.
Holy shit, we're famous.
we were ecstatic, and then
those 4 of our friends.
Yeah, it was all of our friends, and we were like, if this doesn't go anywhere or we lose content, like, what are we gonna do? And so we just kind of made it, like I said, when we did our hiatus, that kind of really kicked us in the ass. And then getting our new gear was another real pain in the ass, but we ended up getting it done. And, it was just for the quality for our listeners. We started this not knowing anything about podcasts. We decided, like I said,
fucking winged it.
Yeah, we were drinking beer, and we were just like, oh, let's do a podcast.
Best Buy.
Yeah, and I think it was the next day we went down to Best Buy, and we used Brandon's laptop, which we still use, and we bought 2 USB, or actually 1. We started off with 1 bidirectional USB microphone, and that was our earliest episodes, was just talking into the bidirectional USB mic into an audio program that was just Audacity. We just went right into Audacity, didn't scrub it, didn't add any voice altering, nothing. So that was our raw.
We did the intro in the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we did our intro. Yeah, standing in the kitchen, and that's the still intro that we use to this day, because we love it. We can't
update it, but the nostalgia is there now.
Yeah,
so we just keep it there.
We keep that original.
Part of the roots.
Yeah, it is. And we kind of just obviously expanded from there, and it was. A lot of this is, people obviously ask us all the time too. They're like, oh, do you monetize and all this other stuff? And it's like, right now, the only monetization we're doing is merch sales. We don't have any other type of monetization. That's why we don't have ads or anything like that. We want to eventually look into it, but we focused on getting max quality for our listeners. That's everything here is self-funded by us.
Yeah.
You know, we do all of our own social media. We don't outsource anything. We're just
all in house.
Yeah, we do everything here, and then all of this stuff, all of our gear is funded by us. You know, and just something that we really take pride in. You know, we really want to have it succeed, and it was kind of scary in the beginning because I'll speak for myself, because it was like, oh, okay, we're getting a couple downloads, but we didn't think it was ever going to go any further than like our friend group, our area, you know. And then we got our first hit in Independence, Kansas.
Yep.
Was our first like big hitter, and neither of us have ever been to Kansas, nor do we know anybody that lives in Kansas. So they just kind of took off, and they actually surpassed the local area for downloads. And it was like, holy shit, we might have something here. So we just continued with it, and now we have people
different countries.
Yeah, all over the United States and in different countries that listen as well. So it's pretty cool to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing you can't do, you can't get caught in the numbers. That's the easiest way to get disgruntled and discouraged and just say, fuck this, I'm done.
Absolutely.
That's, you know, people will say, oh, you know, people who don't have numbers, that's what they say. Well, whatever. Be that as it may.
We have fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun, right? Podcasting, talking to friends, interviewing people, just having conversations. You know, I don't, you know, make money off this, and that's one reason why I'm still doing this out of my basement. And while I'm saying that, I do want to give you guys credit. Your podcast sounds amazing. So anyone listening or watching this, the audio quality of this is not a reflection on these gentlemen here. Their podcast sounds great. I feel like you guys are in the room with me. If I didn't know you guys and never saw you guys before, I would think that your voices were reversed.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, Brandon's got that deep, like, yeah, what's up?
Yeah,
I like that.
And Brandon's smaller than you are, Joe.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, so if I didn't
more
know
of
you
the
guys,
athletic build.
but yeah, so I mean, and I remember you guys took a break, and I was like, oh, another statistic.
Yeah.
So when you guys came back, I was like, all right, cool. They're still at it. That's cool.
Yeah, like I said, it was a lot of soul searching between the two of us. We did. We had those conversations where it was like, do we hang this up? You know, is this something that we just want to kind of cut our losses now? Because we didn't, at that point in time, we didn't have a lot of money invested. I mean, we had money invested, but it wasn't like
not at this point.
Nothing to where we're at now. You know, we have the mixer, we have the boom mics, and these are all condenser microphones. We have 4 of them. So when we do interviews, when we do interviews now, everybody has their own up to 2 other people. They have their own headphones, and they have their own
I can fit 3 on this couch.
they have their own
couch.
gear, because these couches, actually, funny story about these couches, they started out in my parents' living room. I grew up with these couches.
If these couches could talk.
Hey.
Oh boy.
Then they ended up in my basement.
Screaming.
Yeah, they ended up in my basement, and we used them at the bar and for parties and stuff like that. And then they just ended up over here. So it fits well. It fits the decor. But yeah, we had minimal money invested. We have the good stuff now, and that was before we made that jump. We were like, is this something that we want to see obviously succeed? And yeah, we do. And we want to continue taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
Sorry,
and what really, I mean, I'm not gonna say brought us back, because we had intentions on coming back, but I mean, like Joe just said, the talks we had, it was a real deal. But if it wasn't for, I want to say, the support of everybody that followed us and still follows us, luckily, I mean, we had to do it for them. And I think that's when Joe, I mean, I'll speak for myself. That's when I especially really realized, holy shit, like, this is more than just a little financial and time investment. This is a lot bigger than we think it is. And then obviously, put numbers aside, you look at the bigger picture, and it's like, hey man, we're helping people, and that's, you can't beat that. We're full on now.
Yeah. So. Oh, absolutely. and to piggyback off of what you just said, the biggest reward is
from smaller, break me.
is to have those people that come up to you that you may know or you may not know, and they say, "Hey, listen," like you said, that episode that you did on whatever it was, even if it was just like joking around or telling an old memory of like
high school days,
something like that. It's like, oh, hey, that made me think back to my high school days or when my buddies and I were younger, because we do have that's the other thing too, is we have a huge age demographic that listens to us. It's not just for the 20 somethings, it's also we have people
not
that
just
are
for guys, girls,
guys,
old
girls,
balls, whatever fuck, young, old, whatever fuck you are.
We have people in their 40s and 50s that are regular listeners, and we also have kids that are coming fresh out of high school that are listening to us, and that's why we try and talk and bring our topics up in our discussions to where we can kind of, okay, maybe one episode we'll gear it more towards the older generation, or like how we feel as an older or getting older, and then also talking to the younger generations when we talk about college and we talk about school and like where to go in life, and how to deal with face it, let's have how to deal with emotion and stuff like that, because that's not something that nobody hands you a book and says, here's how to deal with this.
Here you go.
Yeah, so somebody giving you a little bit of insight, that's why we tailor it towards the younger generation as well. So we have a nice split.
A little bit of fun for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I thought about quitting. I mean, it's just it's a commitment, right? It's just like, and then I'll record like 3 episodes a week, right? And I'll take like 2 weeks off, and sometimes that's all I need is it's that week break, because it's like once I hit record at that next episode, I'm like, okay, this is really like what I love to do, and very much like you guys right now, it's just a passion thing. I do it at night. Right now, it's like I said, it's February 8th. It's almost 10 o'clock at night. My kids are in bed. My wife is probably enjoying the time to herself, watching whatever the fuck she's watching. So it's good for us, right? And you guys are, hanging out with each other, drinking beers, like talking about life and just what's going on. And as much as you're saying it's for other people, it's probably a really great outlet just for, personal issues too.
I hate this fucking guy. We have fun, man.
We say it all the time. It's kind of like, it's like our therapy. We sit back and we're just like, again, like it started off as just kind of like
we gotta record this shit.
Well, to not even that, but it started out as like just a glorified bitch session.
Oh yeah.
For us to just get together and just vent and complain about shit. For me, and but obviously use the comedy to get past it and to joke around about it, make it easier on the ears, because let's face it, nobody wants to hear, I mean, I'm sure there are podcasts that's just like depression podcasts and stuff like that, but nobody wants to just hear somebody bitch on the phone or bitch over the radio for hours on end about like how my life sucks. And that's in the very beginning, that was where we joked around like our lives were dumpster fires, but we were just enjoying it. We were just kind of cozy in there. So
and fire's cozy.
Yeah. And so going off of that though, it is a therapeutic it's a therapeutic time for us. And it's also like, again, we take our misfortunes, if you consider them misfortunes, and we try and turn them around. That's just our biggest thing.
No, I mean, I love how vulnerable you guys are. I think it's important as people, and to portray that. I mean, we're human beings. We're all going through shit. I know one episode you had was around mental health, and obviously a huge topic these days. I mean, the world is completely fucked. We're all losing our fucking minds, even if we think we have it together, we're fucking losing our minds.
Big time.
It's I don't know. It's like it's crazy. It's fucking crazy. Like what's going on? I mean,
everybody nobody has any idea what the fuck is going on, but everybody's
everybody's just existing right now, I feel like. And that's again, and some of the stuff that we talk about is to kind of like, and we tell people all the time with our episodes, in our hooks, if you will, at the end or in the beginning, even sometimes, usually that's where your hooks are, but in the end, it could be in the middle for us sometimes, because we do our own thing. But
Everybody loves hookers.
our our main thing is just to try and get people to listen also and to think about things, even if it doesn't affect them and make them feel some sort of way. Well, actually, I shouldn't. I regress. If it doesn't make them instantaneously want to act on something or like reach out to somebody, do something about it, if it just even gets them thinking about it, because we are in such a dangerous place right now as just as a society. You know, we rely so heavily on social media, which is ironic because this is what we're using as our platform to get out there to people.
Yep.
But you know, we're so sucked in, and you know, again, like with the morals and the values of today's society, and what the kid, like our kids, well, we don't have kids, but
that's the fuck that I know.
people that have children, you know, I can only imagine being a parent. You know, we have friends that are parents, and it's, you know, it's scary talking to them and just listening to them and going their concerns about like what's the world going to be like with their kids growing up. You know, it's a lot, and that's where we just hopefully can. It's not even just that we're trying to push an agenda, because there's a lot of podcasts out there that just want to push agendas and the politics and all that other bullshit. We just, this is our opinions, and it's our opinions getting out there and what we feel is right and the values we were raised on, and just trying to relate that to other people, you know, and just kind of keeping that going, because you're right, it is. As a society, as a nation, in general, as a population, as a human population, we're fucked.
Yeah, to put it bluntly, it's crazy. You keep talking about, you know, how you were raised, your morals, and where you came from, and things like that. Talk to me a little bit about that. Where's Slocum? Like, what's it near?
Bumfuck. That's no, I mean it's we're kind of in the center of a couple of big cities, you know, maybe between Wilkes-Barre, Hazleton, like more notable cities that, you know, the average person knows about. Scranton, well, yeah, Scranton, yeah, where the office is.
Yeah, wherever the office is filmed.
And we're just middle of the woods.
It's a more rural area of Mountaintop.
Yeah.
So you have the city, or whatever you want to consider Mountaintop as, in between Hazleton and Wilkes-Barre. We're more towards Berwick, you know, the Berwick Nescapec area.
We're not next to the river, we're above it, you know.
We're on the hill, we're on the mountain above the river.
Well, I was asking because I wasn't sure if, like, I grew up in Hunlock Creek.
Okay.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, my mom still lives out there, and my brothers still live out there. And you know, you guys just give me that kind of country vibe. Like, let's hang out, drink some beers, like shoot the shit. And I mean, Slocum Ranch sounds like a place I want to fucking hang out at.
Dude, you're more welcome. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love
Beers
to have
are always cold, man. Always.
Oh yeah. But yeah. Talk about, like, you know, growing up and you know, so you keep going to your morals and how you were raised. Like, I love that about people that like hold true to that. I mean, and kind of call people out who may have gone awry.
Yeah, no. I'll start, and I'll just say, you know, I was born in 1995, so I'm a 90s baby, mid 90s baby. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, John. I know that's upsetting, John. But that's when I graduated high school. You son of a bitch. But
I was 01 high school.
No, I was born in 95, and like I said, Dorrance Township, which is the next township over from Slocum. And you know, my parents, my dad's a heavy equipment operator still to this day. My mother was an accountant. She's always been with accounting and stuff like that. So you know, grew up in a middle of the road family. You know, I mean, we weren't living like the Trumps. We weren't, you know, richy riches. We weren't poor. We were just kind of middle of the road. We just did our thing. And you know, it was my grandparents, my whole family is just based off of just be kind to other people, you know, and that's how my parents instilled in me respect for your elders, respect for everybody. It within reason. It was you give respect to get respect, and don't get walked over though.
Mhm.
If you give somebody the first time you ever meet somebody, you shake their hand, you introduce yourself, and you be kind and courteous. If that person's a piece of shit to you, well then don't get walked over, stand your ground. But at the same point in time, don't be rude right out of the gate. Because I feel like that's a huge problem with today's society as well, is that people are just me, don't think about anybody else.
They never got hit with a fucking belt. That's
Yeah, well,
You can't do it anymore. It
Teach a right to
sucks.
run.
yeah,
That's it.
exactly.
I go to jail.
Yeah,
Dude, I
and
got
that's
two kids. I got two kids. I would never. I have a 6-year-old who's never done anything that warranted being struck. So I'm
Right.
thankful for that. And I have an 18-month-old. So
Yeah, you're
not
good
even.
there.
But no, it's like yeah. I never thought about it. I hope that I never get to lose my cool where it happens. But like, there's a lot to be said about a generation that knew where they fucking stood.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. And that's the thing. Like it was always, if somebody is older than you, they have like I said, your utmost respect right out of the gate.
Mhm.
It's yes sir, yes ma'am. That's where that started from. My parents instilled that in us, myself and my brother, because I have a younger brother, Justin, and he is he's grew up the same as I did, so it was instilled in the both of us, and that's just kind of how I live. I mean, I always joke around and say I could make friends with a piece of drywall. I could talk to somebody and just like, it's either there's a connection or there's not a connection. But I'm fortunate enough where I feel like a lot of people see me as a likable person. Maybe that is because of my demeanor like that and the way I was raised with those values of like give respect to get respect, because everybody's just so used to getting shit on, for lack of a better way to describe it. As soon as you voice an opinion, or you even just first time meeting somebody, people have that arrogance about them now. Like I said, it's all me, and it ruins everything. It sours a lot of people right out of the gate. I know it does for me as well. I still try and give those people the benefit of the doubt, because you never know what somebody's going through. But that was another thing too, is just to make sure. My parents always said, you never know what somebody else is going through, so you got to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt, and work with them in a way if it's worth working out. So, but just simple values. Work for what you have. Like I said, I talk about it all the time. If you want something, well, I shouldn't say work for what you have. It's if you want something, you have to work for it. Nothing is for free. There's no guarantees in life. My work ethic. I tell everybody that I get into the conversation with. My work ethic comes from my parents. I tell people all the time, I never wanted for anything growing up, but at the same point in time, I was never just given anything either. It was, if you want this, I may not have had the liquid cash or like the funds to get it at the time, but there was the trade-off system, and it wasn't necessarily just chores either. It was like long-term stuff, grades in school and stuff like that. My parents always were heavy on the education, and push that. So it was always, nothing's for free. You have to work and earn everything that you have. And that's why I feel like I was fortunate enough to be able to buy a house at 21, 22 years old, because, I had that work ethic, and I did that from the get-go,
Yeah, I mean that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That you did that at 21, 22.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And it's like I said, it was fortunate enough. I mean, obviously, my mother being in the accounting background, I had help with finances, but at the same point in time, I don't always take heed to my mother's advice, as we tend to do.
Yeah,
So
we're not supposed to.
Yeah, I like to learn my own way, which is usually the hard way, is what my mother calls that.
And
So
the wrong way. Yeah.
yeah. I usually take the high road, and she says stay on the low road. But yeah, so believe me, it wasn't it wasn't all easy either, because I went through that stage where and you said you have a 6-year-old. My mother would tell you, just wait for another 6 years, because when I was going through my stage of, well, I shouldn't even say 6 years, maybe longer than that.
It's not a phase, Mom.
Yeah, maybe another 10 years, because my mother always said, when I turned 16, you got the license and you got the, because that was another thing too, is that, was when I lived at home, I left home at 18 years old. Not because I was forced to, because I know I grew up with kids that was like 18, their parents were like, yeah, go figure it out, do whatever. I left on my own will, because I was just like, I want to have my own rules, so I'm gonna go and do my own thing.
I did the same thing.
So
I left. I
yeah,
was like 19 or 20, and I remember my dad saying, like, he's like, "Why do you want to leave here? You have everything you want or need
uh-huh,
here." And I'm like, "That's exactly why I want to leave." Because it was
exactly,
my first year of college, and I'm like, I don't want to like finish college and then get thrown into the real world and not have any fucking clue what to do.
exactly.
And I was like,
Yep.
let's do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I left on my own will. My mother still, to this day, even though it was 10 years ago, my mother still cringes at that day that I was packing up the truck, and I went to college and I never came back. That's what my mom says when she tells people about it, because I did. I went right to college, and I was dating my ex-wife at the time, and then when college didn't work out for me because I partied it away, I moved from my college dorm. I moved right in with my ex-wife, staying with her family. Obviously, I wanted to be shacked up with the missus at the time. So it was, moved in with her and her family, and then we started renting, and then everything went from there.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom says I went to college and I never came home.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it was always to earn it. It was never a question of like, oh, I could just walk home and say, hey, I need this and this and this. Like, it was, well, go figure it out. It was just and that wasn't necessarily the school of hard knocks. My parents never were gonna let me fall on my face per se. I found this out later in life. Obviously, they didn't tell me this when it was going on, or everybody would take full advantage of that. But it started out as, or I found it out later in life, that they were like, oh, well, we were never going to let you completely fail, but we wanted to make sure that you got the picture that you're doing this on your own. You want to be a big boy, you go be a big boy.
Right. That's good though.
But
That's
yeah, go ahead, B. You tell your
Oh
side.
boy, I'll take a swing first. No, so I was born in '94. I think old. I guess we'll say raised old school. I guess we can say that. I mean, I had kind of a little bit different family dynamic. So my mother and father weren't married, so it wasn't like a back and forth kind of between. It was just, yeah, I was mostly with my grandparents. Ultimately, my grandparents kind of raised me, and I think that's kind of where my, I say the old school values, that's what was really instilled in me. I mean, between the love for the outdoors that definitely was brought about my grandfather. I mean, we'd eat, breathe, sleep the outdoors. So I mean, everything that I learned in life pretty much came from my grandfather. And my grandfather and my grandmother are both still alive, fortunately. And so just learning from their old ways, and definitely learning the value of everything, not necessarily just a dollar, just, and it's, kind of like the Joe said too, it didn't learn, it wasn't the school hard knocks, like, hey, go fucking figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 10 years old, I need some help, but I was fortunate enough to still be helped, but it was more mentor than anything. It was kind of, hey, here's the tools to succeed, whether or not you want to be a shitbag and apply yourself. And now that's you're only going to get as far as you actually apply yourself. And some of my it's funny, my mother used to say when I was like 13 years old, yeah, 13 going on 30, and I'm like, I never understood what that meant. Now I hear it, I'm like, oh fuck. You know what I mean? So now it's kind of weird to grow up and see, all those years growing up being like, oh, this sucks. A lot of kids wish for a different family. I mean, that's unfortunately a huge thing, and that's the reality.
Every kid,
but
though. Every kid, I think.
you get older, and you look back on it, and it's, I think where I'm at in my life now, I was fortunate to live the life I was. So it's, how I was raised might have sucked at the time, but I mean, it paid off in the end. So
I'll never forget. I remember, like, I had a friend that lived right down the street, and it's funny how, like, when you're over their house, their parents are on the best behavior. They're fun. They're
Mhm.
they're the coolest people in the world. And it's like, I want to live here.
Yep.
I don't live in my house. Like, fuck this place. I want to go live down there with my friends'
Oh
parents.
yeah.
Okay, we got snacks. This is
And
cool.
then you grow up and you're like, holy shit, like that's not what I thought it was. Like that's like
Yep.
Yep.
I had a really, really good life. I had a really good set of parents, and that's not what what was portrayed was not reality.
Oh, absolutely.
It's funny how as a kid, like you know everything, you know it all, and you think you can go on your own, and you want to live with somebody else, and
Mhm.
I guess it's part of growing up, and I'm terrified of that moment with my children. But I mean, my kid tells me now he's never leaving, but I'm sure one day that'll change.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, and that's where, like you said, I at the time I don't want to say I hated it. I'm sure that word definitely came out of
Oh
my
yeah.
mouth a time or two, but like I just like you said, you wanted to live at your buddy's house. You wanted like his parents let him do whatever he wanted, and that's how it was. Uh, but like you said, it's because my parents never. I was never the kid that went to parties. It was, and it wasn't that I had controlling parents at the time. I was, my parents are controlling. My parents are, like, oh, they're, got to keep me close to the nest and stuff like that. But now that I see what could have been, the trouble that I could have gotten into, or the road or the path that I could have went down if my parents just were the ones that turned a blind eye, like so many parents do.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah, just it could have turned out to be a very catastrophic thing for myself, and that's where I give all the credit in the world to my parents and the way that they raised me, and now it makes 110% sense of why they did what they did. And I tell my mother constantly now, even though I I still, she makes me regret it every time I say it, but I'm like, you were right. You were 100% correct. And she loves it. She grins from ear to ear. She loves hearing it.
Satisfaction. She's like, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I fucking know I'm right.
But yeah, it definitely is. It's an eye-opening thing now that we're a little older and we can say, it was a good thing that we did what we did and how we grew up.
We're fortunate.
Absolutely, very fortunate.
It's funny how that happens though. It's like, as a young kid, you're fine. You get like teenage years. It's like you know everything. You're wrong. I'm right. And you get to like early 20s, and you're like, oh, okay, like, yeah, mom, dad, thanks. Like, you really had my back.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I tell them that every day. And I touched on it a little bit from my personal experience in the episode, a couple episodes ago, actually, just recently. I touched on it where I said, I thought I was a huge disappointment to my parents, because my parents are still married, and they're in their early 60s, very early 60s. And I said to them when I first got divorced those 4 or 5 years ago, uh, or yeah, 4 years ago. Um, my biggest thing, because there was always that, I came from a very, I shouldn't say very religious, but my family is religious. And it was always that everybody was together, you get married and it's just one and done,
That's
there's
it. Yeah.
separation isn't a thing. And that's also one of the values that was instilled in me too, is like you're committed. You get into something like this, you're committed. Unfortunately, other people in today's society, like, divorce rates are so high, and we can go down that rabbit hole, but we won't. But when I got divorced, I remember sitting on my parents' couch in the living room, not these couches, but their new couches. And I remember sitting in the living room with them, and I looked at my dad in the eyes, and my dad, blue collar dad, my dad and I never really, it wasn't like I don't want to say sappy. Like, my dad and I never really had like as far as like emotional connection. It was just dad was the discipliner. He wasn't. It's not that I couldn't talk to him about it. It was just like, we don't burden dad with that stuff.
Right.
Dad is the strong silent type, and we just don't talk to dad about that kind of stuff. But when I was sitting there and I was talking with both my parents, and I looked at them both and I said, I'm sorry that I failed you guys. And my dad was the one who kind of chuckled and he spoke up and he was like, "Why are you sad that you like? What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Well, I got divorced." So I was like, "I'm sorry, I couldn't carry a marriage. I feel like I failed you guys." And my dad laughed because she didn't fail us. He goes, "We never expected it to last anyway." He goes, "You got married so young." He's like, "We didn't think it was going to last as long as it did." He goes, "Good for you for making it last that long." And I was like, "Oh, okay, here we go."
It's funny how parents like they let you kind of fail too. Like,
Yeah.
it's weird. I mean, I don't. So I lost my dad when I was 22. But very similar to what you said. Like he was just very like we didn't talk a lot. Like he was the father figure. He was my dad. Like he
Right.
made sure homework was done. He wanted to make sure he did well in school. We didn't talk that much. We never really said I love you that much. And it wasn't until like after I graduated high school, or I'm sorry, no, college, um, that I feel like he kind of like let the wall down to where he was
Right.
like, I've done my job as a father. Like I got him here. He finished college. He's out on his own now, and I could be his friend at this point.
Right.
And sure as shit, like 3 weeks later, he had passed away unexpectedly.
That's the worst. I'm
Yeah,
sorry you had to go through that, man.
yeah. Well, thank you. It just I feel badly for my mom and my brothers who were 17 and 15 or 14. Because
Yeah.
I was fortunate that I had him through all the important parts, but um getting back to like just parents being parents, like, and it's important that they kind of they guide you enough, but they also like let you fuck up a little bit just to like let you know that hey, like
Oh yeah.
it's it's life, man. Life sucks. Like it's hard.
Yeah,
It's
it
hard to
does.
figure out. It's and if they were there to hold your hand every step of the way, you'd be a big pussy.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the other thing that we talk about too is just like that everybody thinks that they can have things handed to them now.
Yep.
And that's what we
Everybody's
touch on.
fucking entitled.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
that's the world we live in. You know it. I'm sure you know it. You see it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of it is some of our generation.
Yeah.
Is one of the ones that
Well,
started
that's
that.
that's what I've noticed. Like, and now, like talking to you guys too, is like your how you grew up and those who raised you, and because you guys aren't like that, because of the opposite.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like people your age are typically the ones who they don't even know how to fucking start a car.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
weird.
yeah. Yeah, it's when people look at you and say like and it's not even I just and I don't want to sound sexist. It's not sexist at all. But when men look at you and say, "I don't know how to change a tire," because I've had guys that are my age and it's usually my age and younger that are just like, "I've never changed a tire in my life." Like, what? Excuse me? Say again? Come
I
again?
couldn't. I
Like,
couldn't even drive a car yet. My dad is the first thing he made me do was change a tire, or taught me how to
yeah,
do it. Now I've never done it myself since then, but
right.
I could if I had to.
Yeah, absolutely. And nobody ever wants to be stuck on the side of the road changing a tire. I think
No.
I've maybe changed two in my entire life.
Yeah.
But it's really kind of scary to see the entitlement and to see, and that's what, like I said, our biggest thing is just trying to kind of poke fun at it, but also bring it to light to understand and like kind of get people to start thinking and understanding like this isn't the way it's supposed to be. This is how you want to progress in life. You have to go through. You want to go through hardships, and that's another thing we talk about. But you also want to be able to be grounded enough to get through those hardships.
The grass
Yeah.
is greener where you water it.
Absolutely.
We say that a lot, and that's
Well,
That's
actually, I actually wrote that down. That's a common theme, common quote. The
Yeah.
grass is greener where you water it.
Yep.
I was gonna end on that, but you ruined it. Thanks a lot.
we can still end on it. That's fine.
No, but I mean, I don't want to keep it too much longer. It's getting late.
Yeah,
but
no, that's
we got plenty of beer.
so do I. Um, some of the episodes is like we talked about the mental health episode. Obviously a important topic. The what women want episode, and then
right.
what women really want episode. Those were great. Um, I was listening to one tonight as I was driving, and because I was just trying to like, I, I I don't have a lot of time to listen to podcasts. Um,
Right.
I'm a huge Rogan fan, so most of my time is dedicated to listening to his, and he just puts out 3 to 4 a week, and they're 3 hours long. It's like holy shit.
Right.
Um, so I have maybe three, and you guys are one of them. So I was just trying to like real quick go through, and I came on the one that it was What Women Want. This was my second time listening through, but that was a way back, and I think it was Brandon who said something about a soup can. You meant an aerosol can. You said I'm not even
Oh
a soup
shit.
can.
Oh Lord.
Oh fuck.
That's also where we realize those episodes, while we are, obviously being in our 20s, we are, testosterone filled human beings. We also have realized too, while we do poke fun at the sexual side of things, that we didn't want to be a stiff socks junior.
Yeah.
So we kind of just we started out where it was funny to talk about sex, and it was funny to talk about that kind of stuff, and it still is. Everybody laughs at when you say butthole and stuff like
Oh,
that,
yeah.
which is because it's funny. But
$5 butthole things. That'll never not be funny. There's no fucking way.
but we kind of also refine that a little bit, and as you listen through the episodes,
Yeah.
where we still touch on that kind of stuff. Like I said, it's still funny. We still use comedy, but we don't go as deep.
Yeah.
In those beginning episodes, that's where I tell everybody to, maybe listen to the first one or two episodes.
Yeah.
But then I tell people when they're
New stuff.
yeah, when they're first listening, we're like, don't judge us on our early stuff. Go into the get a little bit more recent episodes, because we're not all just joking around about that. And we did have, and it's out there, and we stand by everything we said, but we kind of refined ourselves a little bit after that as well.
But yeah.
Also, I think that goes back to what I said earlier. Like, you're not that you're like embarrassed by things you've talked about, right? Not at
No.
all. But it's like
No,
you
we
grow
don't
up, you
regret
kind of
anything.
exactly, but you kind of get older, and you're like, maybe we shouldn't do that again. Like it is what it is. It's
Yeah.
there, but even subconsciously, you're just like, okay, we're getting older. Like let's talk about, uh, you know, stuff that's
Things
not.
that actually matter.
Well, I mean, these things also. I mean, it was a fun episode, and I mean, we are completely different creatures. Like, and I don't want to go too far down this because you guys have done it on your own episodes, but we are different fucking people. Like,
Oh
yeah.
we don't belong together. We're here for one reason and one reason only. And I'm gonna say this because my wife, I know for a fact, is not listening. Like, we're here for one reason and one reason only, and that's to fuck and reproduce. That's it.
Yep.
Not with the same one for fucking 1,000 years. Like, whatever. Like, it's just. I mean, listen. I'm married, happily married. I'm married up. I could never repeat what I've done. I would never want to try. Two beautiful children, great life, great home, great everything. I'm blessed. But we're here for one thing, and that's to fucking reproduce, and that's it.
Yep.
And I think that's why we're also. But I think it's also why we have so many fucking problems, and people are, out there cheating and doing whatever they're doing because, like, we're not meant to be fucking. We're animals. We're fucking animals.
Yep.
End of the day. I mean, as men,
Yep.
we're animals, so we're fucking terrible.
Absolutely. Cheers to that.
But it's tough. It's tough,
It does.
But let's look at boobs.
And that's where
we see boobs, we look at them.
Exactly.
Fuck, what the fuck?
Exactly. If you don't get mad at us, like
Yeah.
when you spend 10 grand on that fake set of tits,
No,
like,
I'm gonna look.
We're gonna look. Like, don't call us pigs for looking. Like, you did it. And when you're
then wear the smallest fucking shirt possible and be like, hey, eyes are up here. I don't give a fuck. Like,
and that's the thing too, is the with cancel culture being what it is, and how everything has got to be PC. You know, that's another reason why we're doing what we're doing, because we want to be able to kind of like not not be complete assholes about it, but just kind of be like, you know, like fuck you to the PC kind of deal. You know, like there's people out here that still care about having decent values, but also like we have decent values and we have decent morals. We're not out there just like, you know, scoping chicks. It's not that, but at the same point in time, we're, you know, because that's another thing. We grew up with both of us, that women are to be respected.
Sure,
you know,
we
started with that from the very beginning, you know, instilled in us by our parents. But at the same point in time, it's like, hey, listen, you know, if you're going to walk out in public in a pencil skirt and it's completely form-fitting, 3 sizes too small, and you got it going on, and you paid for it up top, and you just naturally came from your mama in the back, like, we're looking. I'm sorry, that's just how it is.
That's why you're doing it too. It's like, fuck.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. They want
Animals.
the
Why would
attention.
you pay to get them done?
Yeah, they want the attention, but they don't want the attention at the same point. Which is,
don't look at me and my fresh, brand new, nice tits. You're like, okay,
we're fucking animals. It's terrible.
Absolutely.
That's why I didn't want a daughter. That's why I didn't want a daughter, and I have one.
Oh, Lord.
Terrified, man.
And put her in a sweater, in a turtleneck sweater until she's 35.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying this because she's my wife. I'm saying this because she is fucking gorgeous, and my son looks just like my wife, which is, I guess, fine, because he's very handsome. And when I found out we were having a daughter, I'm like, fuck. Now I got to figure like this shit out, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not a fighter. I'm a dad. Dad bod, guilty. You know, all that shit. And so I'm hoping she looks like me, because then I won't have to worry about anything. But then at the same sense, I'm like, I don't want that to happen to her. That's a fucking terrible life. I hope she looks like my wife. Sure as shit, just like my wife. I'm in fucking trouble.
Oh no, no shit! You'll be out at the street with a shovel, just swinging it around, fighting them off, right?
Yeah. He said, like, I'm gonna shave my head. I'm gonna fucking do karate in the front fucking yard and just, you know, whatever. I want that. I want
all
her
the doors
boyfriend
are
like,
off
yo,
the hinges.
I want her boyfriend like, yo, your dad's fucking crazy. And it's like, yeah,
that's the only thing you can do. Just like do a shit ton of pre-workout and just start doing your workouts in the front yard. She'll be bringing boys over and be like, yeah, don't talk to my dad because he's kind of nuts.
Just clean every gun you have for no reason when he comes over. That's it.
Thankfully, I have one, so I was like, yeah, I could do that. But hopefully, you know, I have a son. He's firstborn, so hopefully he'll be the man. He'll take care of his little sister, and I won't have to fucking worry about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, hopefully he will. That's the whole point of having a boy first, isn't it?
Man.
Not that you could pick, obviously, but.
Well, I could have the second one. I could have. So our second one was an IVF baby, and technology the way it is now, science rather. If you have like you could, if you have both like sexes, like you could say, I want to insert a male or female.
Right.
We didn't want to do that. So we're just like, pick the healthiest one, like whatever one you guys think is the best one, just put that in.
Right.
Sure shit, it was a girl. So.
Oh Lord, God bless you, because I can only imagine.
I mean, I'm just scared in general. Like, outside of, this is we'll be here till fucking 2 a.m. But I mean, the way things are now, where there's genders and this, that, other thing, like, trying to navigate that for me is like going to be like that alone, plus like internet and shit like that, and kids bullying other kids. It doesn't end at school like it did for us. It goes into, you know, online after school and all that kind of shit. Like, I don't know how I'm going to navigate that. I don't know.
Yeah. Protecting your children. It's one of the best things that I actually recently heard, and it wasn't true. This is not my quote. I want to say it was through the Sean Ryan Show. I don't know if you're familiar with that podcast at all.
No. I'll check it out. The Sean Ryan Show.
Yeah, he does great interviews. He's a ex SEAL, Navy SEAL. So he owns Vigilance Elite is his company, and he just does like high profile interviews with operators and stuff. So I never grew up. None of my family, well, other than my grandfather's, is military. None of them are current military or were military. But my parents, my uncle and my dad are just into military things. Planes, submarines, boats, that kind of stuff. So I kind of was interested in listening to it. But he did an interview with a gentleman. I don't know his name, can't quote it or anything like that, unfortunately. But I'll give the credit to where the credit is due. It was the Sean Ryan Show. And he said the guy that he was interviewing, they were talking about children and like what to do in this day and age and the challenges. And he said that one of his buddies told him, as a single dad raising two girls, he said, talking about sending them off to school and like you said, like sheltering them from, the online stuff, the gender misgendering and all the choices and stuff that you have. He said, if you had $1 billion, billion with a B, in a clear plastic bag, where would you feel safe? And this is putting a monetary value, obviously, on your children, using that as an example, which there is
your biggest asset.
Yeah, there is no monetary value on children, obviously. But,
right.
if you take that $1 billion in a clear plastic bag, where would you feel that it would be the safest? And it was an honest question. Where would you feel safest? And it's right next to you. Right. Making sure that you are the sole controller of what enters and exits your children's lives. Yeah. And that really, resonated with me. Obviously not having any kids of my own at this point in time, but, just when that time does come, which, hopefully, God willing, eventually it will. But it really resonated with me is like, make sure, because that's a huge problem. Like we were saying, like there's a big disconnect. There's a lot of like where parents are not involved in their children's lives. And that's, like I said, kudos to you for doing it. And I'm sure your children will turn out perfectly fine, but it's scary, man. It's gotta be scary, yeah. In this day and age, especially.
I hope so, man. I mean, being a dad is like the most rewarding thing I've ever done. I wish I did it earlier, because I'm an old dad now. To a degree. I mean, I'm old for my second one. I'm kind of old for my first two, but whatever. But yeah, it's the greatest thing I've ever done. But it's like the most terrifying thing I've ever done too.
Yeah.
So yeah, go do it. Go do that. Go have kids.
Yeah, they say it's the greatest thing ever. So
it is.
I was setting myself up to already be on that path. Like if I, and again, we talk about it all the time actually in the show as well, is like we live life, we don't live plan. And I feel like a lot of people get that mixed up, and it's an issue with today's society where everybody's like, they feel, again, where we talk about all the time too, is where people like clean the slate because everything's not going to their plan. Like they just want to wipe the slate clean, start fresh. What happened to me? Throw it in the garbage, throw the relationship in the garbage, throw 7 years in the garbage because things aren't going exactly the way I wanted to. There's no working on it. It's just throw it away, start fresh. Well, you can't, that's again where that quote comes from. We'll talk about that later. But, walking away from things is just, it's not the correct way to do it. It's just you got to work at things.
How you fix what's broken.
Correct. Yeah.
At least try.
Yes, absolutely. So making sure and relaying that information is one of our biggest things as well. To stay current with that.
Can I pause 1 second to piss?
Oh, dude, please.
All right, you guys piss, I'll piss, whatever.
Sweet.
That's what we're doing.
All right.
We'll be right back. My neck stick right now.
All right, we're back.
Yes, we are.
We braved the cold. found my little dick, took a piss.
If it wasn't for the string, I'd been fucked. That'd been the end of the
show. Brandon didn't come back. He's busy.
He's got the pepper shaker and a pair of tweezers out there.
3 inches of dick to a car. Yeah, that's impossible.
He's got that soup can.
He's You just gotta just point and aim, you know, you fucking just pray. Point and pray.
Man. Oh God, that's funny. So again, I don't want to keep it too much longer. I want to talk to you about the future of Slocum Ranch. I want to talk to you about a couple current events. They're current today. They won't be as current when this airs, but that's beside the point. But talk a little bit about the future of Slocum Ranch. I know this is February 8th, so you've put out a few episodes so far this year. And I know that in one of them you were talking about possibly adding some video to the whole thing. So what's in store for Slocum Ranch in 2024?
So definitely, I mean, to kick it off, I mean, you can kind of tell from some of our episodes, we still keep that nature vibe to it, I guess. And, still keeping the positivity. So I think, and obviously, as big as outdoorsmen that Joe and I are, definitely going to see a lot of that in the content.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, random, relatable, real. So
we're gonna continue with obviously our path that we're going on right now. Kind of giving our viewpoints on current topics, current events, big topics. It may not even be current, but just like pertinent topics that we feel is as content creators that people need to be thinking about or should be thinking about. But then, as you can see on the wall as well in the background, like Brandon said, with our outdoors, our love for the outdoors, we were talking about, also, it was a talk about like branching off of Slocum Ranch to do like an SR outdoors. But we think we're just gonna tentatively, as of right now, we're just gonna stay Slocum Ranch. We're not gonna necessarily branch off to anything different. We're gonna maybe come out with a different line of clothing, maybe. But more or less, tailored, we should say, different line of clothing tailored more towards like the outdoorsman. A couple camo patterns and
no OnlyFans.
Yeah, no OnlyFans.
That won't happen.
No feet finder.
Well, I mean, Bass Daddy. I mean, I'm still kind of fucking. We'll see what happens in the summer, but
but kind of leaning more towards that, using with the positivity and stuff like that, and we actually have hopefully coming up here some pretty good interviews because we were just down at the Harrisburg Outdoor Show.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
And we got some content hopefully soon coming out with some guys that we were talking to down there. A lot
of innovative stuff.
Yeah, some innovative new technology that's coming out that we were talking to,
and some of the best in the industry.
Yeah, some of the just some classics too as well. So we were talking to some guys down there, hopefully in the future, but it's more tailored towards that outdoors side of things,
Cool.
Yeah,
I was not expecting that.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say that. I wasn't expecting that to be like probably like a main focus, I guess you could say, like a definitive direction.
Yeah, man, we still want to keep pushing the positivity. Is ultimately our biggest thing. When you kind of see that from we joked about it before, from where episode 1 until now, you can hear it. And we've even had people reach out to us and say, hey, like, you guys sound like you're happier, and it really truly isn't a mindset. Say it again, grass is greener where you water it. So we're standing on green grass. We're going to keep watering, and that's really life sucks, and everybody I think kind of has a like we said about it before. When everybody nobody has no idea what the fuck is going on. Everybody's going crazy, but might as well just laugh about it during the ride. So we're gonna just keep pushing that, keep being positive, and making the best out of things.
I guess that's a good segue.
Go
ahead. Yeah, hopefully have some more interviews as well. We definitely want to do a little bit more as far as content. I mean, obviously it's going to be pertinent to the episodes and stuff, but we want to also get branched out and to try and take the podcast to the next level. Video being one of those things, and then also focusing on our social media presence, which it's so hard for us because
I hate social media.
Yeah,
that's the worst part.
Because we don't have anybody that can necessarily like do it for us. Since we're the ones that are doing all of this stuff by ourselves, it's kind of hard for us because of us working our normal job. For us to find the time, it's hard enough. We just do it. We make the time to do it. Now we have our recording dates, we have our release dates and stuff. It just it's hard enough for us to do that and to make that work on a consistent basis than to try and throw in the content creation on top of it. But that's where we just said, like, if we want to see this succeed and we want to take it to the next level, we have to just do it. You have to just sack up and just say, listen, this is what it is. So we're going to see how it goes. Hopefully the video will take off. It's not going to be super crazy with multiple camera angles just yet. It'll probably just be like how we're viewing now, just like a stationary, viewpoint. But at least it'll be something to get the viewers or the listeners and the viewers, some viewpoints of us, sitting here bullshitting and having some fun. So,
is this kind of the studio that you're in now?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, initially, at least, having the one camera and just having it on you guys, I think is perfect. For what that's worth. I mean, so much of your content is just the two of you like talking about these topics. So you don't need to have like, oh, let's pan this person and put a camera on this interviewee and shit like that. So I think what you guys are doing is great. I was gonna say shit.
We do that quite a bit too.
Yeah.
That's another thing that people don't know.
That's a nice thing. We're for how well he and I drive together, which is we can kind of see like when we're gonna start, like, oh fuck, I'm stumbling, and we just pick it right up. So
it's hard. That's another thing too. Like we had Gus on for a while there, which Gus actually jived very well. That's why we brought him on. And as a full-time host for as long as he could do it. Obviously he had to bow out because of his prior obligations with his business and such. But just the two of us, when we first started out, we were doing probably just as long as the episodes were, we were doing editing, and then now we kind of have it to where we don't have to edit. It just kind of works out nice.
It's pretty much all the time anymore. It's a one take. We hit record, hit stop at the end, couple cuts, make some music, and
we're happy about it.
I remember what I was going to say. It's a social media related, and it's like I think that will help you guys get to a new level if you're just more active on that.
Right.
But it's hard. It's the last thing I'm not of a different generation, and I think even though you're younger than me, you're kind of still in that mindset. Like I hate, like, anything I do, I don't think is very important. Like I'm like, no one fucking cares about me, what I'm doing. Actually, we were like fucking around, like setting up. I accidentally hit the camera function on my phone, right? And I looked at it, and the phone, the camera was facing back at me, and I'm like, oh, okay, here's me in front of like my microphone. I'm about to do a podcast. Like, if I was this like, this 2024 like person who needed to take a selfie of themselves every fucking minute, I'm like, oh, this would be a great photo for a story on Instagram. I'm like, granted, I did take the photo. I'm probably not going to post it, but I'm like, it felt fucking weird. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm 41 years old. I have 2 kids. I'm married. What the fuck is going on?
Oh, hey everybody, I'm fucking eating again like you're supposed to. Check it out.
Yeah, it's just like I don't, my brain, like I don't think anything that I do outside of being a father and a husband is very important. I don't. It's just like, and people are like, oh no, what you're doing is really cool and it's really great. You've interviewed this person, that person. I'm like, yeah, it's awesome, but like, whatever. Like, I don't care.
Absolutely.
So like what I was getting at is like being more active on social media will boost your presence, like without a doubt.
Right.
But it's like, how do you do it without feeling like a fucking douchebag?
Well,
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing, is just looking at it and going like, holy Christ, like this is it's you're, like you said, you feel like you're annoying. You feel like you're just like a burden.
Other people are scrolling, they're like, dude, shut the fuck up already.
Yeah, who the fuck do you think you are?
Honestly though, that's one of the biggest things that I rip on it quite a bit personally, because there's girls specifically, it just seems like females are just way more interested in it. Again, I don't want to sound sexist. I don't want to throw shade just at the females, but there are girls that I follow on social media, and I know everybody's just going to be like, Joe, it's easy. Just delete them, just remove them from the friends list. But there's females that I went to high school with that are just like all the time they're just posting and posting and posting and posting. It's like, I don't care what you're doing, I don't care what you're eating. And then there's the ones that'll do the again, the risque photos and stuff like that. But then the minute that you reach out to them, not myself specifically, but the minute somebody reaches out to them, it's, oh, you're being a pig, you're being this, you're being that. It's like, well, then why are you
wait till
posting
you see their
it?
Tinder profiles? That's what.
Because they're fucking crazy and they just want likes. They just want people to like the fucking photo. Because we're all fucked. We're all fucked.
It's all attention based, and then it's sad that that's where everything has come to. But it's everybody's fueled by attention.
Yeah,
it no matter what it is, they're like, oh, get some likes, get that little bit of serotonin, and that's
the biggest thing is that daily ego boost. It's like ego waffles. Everybody's got to have their daily ego boost. You know, it's like, who cares? Like, because even my parents, you know, my mother uses Facebook for Facebook Marketplace, and that's it. But like, she even bitches about her friends, and it's like the couple that she has on Facebook. She's like, it's just like it's braggadocio. That's all it is. Everybody just wants to brag about what they're doing and what their lives are like. Like, if we focused half as much energy on actually making our lives what people like, what it's portrayed as online, we would live so much better as a society and just as human beings. Yeah. You know, it's just like, everybody just gets so focused on like, look at what I'm doing, look at where I'm at, look at how cool this is, or what I'm driving, and this, dude. At the end of the day, and I kind of got a little dark on one of the last episodes where it was like, at the end of the day, when you're dead and gone, and when you're in the ground, people are going to remember you for the memories and the stories and the genuine person that you were. So why don't you focus more on that than looking like something that you're not online?
Oh man, he used to shitpost on Facebook. I love that
guy. Well, one thing that's crazy is that there's people that I know who are like face to face, person to person. I love them.
Yeah.
But their online persona, like, they're different people. They're different.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't know if they read too many fucking you know, rags to riches books or whatever it might be. It's like the person that you are trying to be online is different than you are in real life. And also, I know who you are. So like,
yeah, you're not fooling me.
Whatever. No, like, I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, it's just crazy to me. And I don't understand it. Like, this podcast, and I'm sure you guys are the exact same way. Like, I don't edit these. I don't do shit with them. Like, what you see, what you hear, the mumbles, the whatever, that's all. That's who I am here, and that's who I am when you talk to me in person.
Yep.
And I love that about me. And people have said you're very genuine. It's like, I'm not trying to be someone I'm not.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's everybody puts these fake personas on, like you said, like nowadays, that everybody feels like they have to be something that they're not to impress other people, because they think that they care, you know, and everybody just puts so much merit on what other people think. If you saw what other people's lives are actually like, or what actually went through their head, or if they actually spoke their minds, I feel like it would be just a whole different area, like a whole different you know, time that we're living in, you know, the censorship and just what everybody tries to make like a false reality.
Look, the crazy part of how fuck people are, they'll still like your post and be like, fucking bitch, you know what I mean?
Oh,
I still like it.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine what we'd get done if we didn't spend time on social media, whether it was scrolling through social media or posting to social media or whatever on social media? The time we spend doing that shit is fucking crazy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's nuts. It really is.
Nobody would know how to talk to each other.
Well, they don't now. That's the biggest problem, is just face-to-face interaction is just no longer a thing.
Non-existent.
You know, if you can't hide behind a screen and behind text messages, people, you know, like, they don't know, they're socially awkward now. Like, socially awkward people back in the day was just kind of like, oh, maybe you have like a mental disability or something like that, like a mental block, and that's why you were, you know, socially awkward. Now people are socially awkward because they just physically just don't have face-to-face interaction anymore. You know, it's super crazy, the world that we live in now. But you know what's even worse is that we created it as a society, and we just still continue to be sucked in by it.
Fucking feeding it.
I mean, COVID expedited a lot of it too. Like,
Oh,
we were just
absolutely.
forced into our homes and out of the office and the workplace and shit like that. Like, I am not an advocate of work from home. I just am
Yeah.
not. Like, I love going to work for
Right.
a multitude of reasons. Again, my wife won't listen to this, so I will say it. It's to get the fuck out of the house away from her. If we were in the
Yeah.
house together all fucking day, every day, and she'll admit this too, like we would fucking kill
Yeah.
each other. Like, what are we doing? It's just
Absolutely.
it's I like going. I've been in sales for 20 some years. Like I just like to talk to people. That's what reason I do this too. Is I like to. I'm genuinely curious. I like talking. I like hanging out. Like put me in a home. Like forget it. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's wild, and like you said, COVID really did expedite that,
Yeah.
and that was also, another thing with us. We were mid-COVID. I had been laid off with the pod, and then, like saying about where the podcast started out and where it came from. That's why we had the time to kind of like, I don't want to say perfect it because we still haven't perfected it, but we kind of worked out some of the bugs and we kind of got our feet wet. We kind of tiptoed into the water on what to do because we had the time. We had the time with COVID, which was a blessing for us for this. But at the same point in time, we're glad to be back at least myself. I know I'm glad to be back into the normal swing of things.
I've been hard this whole time, but you just can't tell.
No, but it's. I mean, I think COVID was. It wasn't. I don't want to say it was good for anything because it wasn't, but it allowed people to kind of reflect on themselves and their home life and what's important and what's not. Um, but it did so much destruction and again it put people behind the screens more often. And I think the worst form of communication is reading a text, like whether it's via computer, an email, phone, whatever it might be. Worst form of communication. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I could read a text from my wife at 8 a.m. If I didn't get enough sleep or whatever it might be, I might read that and say, "Who the fuck does she think she is?" and be angry about it. But if I read that 3 hours later when I'm like had my coffee, I'm like, oh yeah, no big deal. That's cool. That's cool. Like you read the
Yep.
same thing, different ways, depending on the
Yep.
mood you're in, the surroundings you're part of. Like it's such a fucking bad way to communicate. It just is.
I couldn't agree more, and that's the unfortunate fact of the matter is you don't get actual.
There's no emotion.
Yeah, you don't get genuine emotion over text. Even there over like Snapchat and stuff like that. You may have a picture with it, but people obviously can put on that fake smile. It's just you're never getting that complete.
The real deal.
The interaction. You're losing that interaction. So and everything could be, like you said, misconstrued, and that's where we talk about it all the time too. Is like, it's all in what you perceive. Some people may listen to what we do and think these guys are just a bunch of a-holes from Slocum.
These guys fucking hate women.
Yeah, wherever. Well, that was.
We've had that before.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
We've had people reach out to us and they're like, "Oh, you're just a women bashing podcast." I'm like, "No, actually, we're not. If you would listen to us and listen to how we explain ourselves, it's not just a I hate women podcast.
We respect everybody equally.
Yeah.
Unless you don't fucking deserve it.
Exactly. It goes from our core values, what I grew up on, what you grew up on, is you give respect where respect is deserved.
Keeping it old school. That's a fucking
and that's with our punchline, if you will, our slogan of random, relatable, real. We always will keep it real.
Yeah.
You said yourself, you're unedited, you're unfiltered, you're just as you are is how you are. That's, I feel like, where a lot of our draw comes from as well, is that we are random, relatable, real. Yeah, some of the shit we say is off the wall, random as hell, we try and be as relatable as possible. But no matter what, if it's if you listen to an episode like you said about the soup can with Soup Can Sam, it's if
Sell that butthole for $5.
yeah, or selling your ass for $5, like, I mean, I think
Raise the prices.
I'd like to think mine's worth more, but I'd like to just say, like, if you came up to me and asked me how I genuinely felt about that in person, I'm going to give you the same exact answer that I would give on the show. Yeah. There's no filtering. There's no, it's what you see is what you get,
always
like
raw.
Yeah, exactly. Always raw. Never wrapped.
Raw. I got a vasectomy. I'm always fucking slinging.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so you
well, I might be shooting blank.
My buddy BG has the best. I'm sterile at this point too. My buddy BG said it's like orange juice. It's all the juice, no pulp. That's after his vasectomy.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun to just fucking not worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good Lord, I always tell a story when I bring up the vasectomy is how I sold merch to the nurse who was prepping me for my vasectomy.
Are you serious?
I won't bore you with the story, but yeah, I sold merch. I was wearing my own merch. Well, I'll bore you with the story real quick. The 10-second version. Wore my own merch. I figure if I don't, who will? So I wore it to the vasectomy. She's like, "What is that about? Podcast? What is it?" Told her what it was. She's like, "Can I buy one?" I'm like, "Sure." Like Venmo, cash, whatever. She's like, "I'll leave cash with your wife." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, all right, instead I'll just put cash in the bag that you're putting your clothes in. I'm like, okay, that's fine too. So I sold my own merch to the nurse who prepped me for my vasectomy.
Oh, nice. Lord! So she got to see what you were packing and everything after she got your merch.
And she wasn't like upset. So I mean, I would have asked for a refund, but I mean, she didn't.
That's heroic. Oh my God, that's too funny.
I mean, that's hopefully that's what I'll be known for one day is the fucking guy who sold his own merch before his own vasectomy. I'll take it.
Hell, that's so cool.
Yeah, what was?
Yeah, I mean, you won't remember my dick, but you remember my podcast. Here's a shirt.
The funny thing is, like, you're talking about merch and stuff like that. We started off. Obviously, that's how we came to know you originally. Was when we came down and bought some of that stuff, and we got to get another order together. But we've been just kind of going through. We're on the tail end of the order that you put together for us, and the merch sales started off very slow, picked up, ramped up, and then it's kind of hit a lull again. We kind of do our own, like you said, rep your own brand. Wear your gear, do what you have to do. The biggest one for myself was the sticker on my pickup when I drive around, because it literally takes up the whole back window, so people can't really miss it. And then we just kind of, like, as far as that's our only advertising is what I'm getting at, is we don't advertise other than our personal social medias. And that's another thing that we can honestly, I could say, collectively, is that we don't advertise at all. And that's where we need to boost that. You were asking us where to go, is obviously advertisement, social media, that kind of stuff. But it's actually, I think it's pretty impressive for how far we've come off of just hearsay from other people, going through, people just talking to other people saying, hey, you should listen to this, and then just wearing our own gear around and just kind of doing that free advertisement. It's kind of impressive for our own right,
Yeah, I mean, I hope that after this episode airs, you get 5 more listeners from my 5 listeners. That's my goal.
That would be great. I hope, because we're going to obviously push it on ours as well. and hopefully we can get some people over to listen to your stuff as well, because you have some great content as well.
And we're super grateful for you to have us on, because we were pumped.
Oh, absolutely.
We were pumped
I was giddy. I'm sorry. I know we were supposed to do this earlier, but I just had the prior obligations. I couldn't make it, so
dude, I
I'm
get
glad
it.
we finally got to do it though.
It's fucking, I get it. It's all good. I mean, like I said, I love what you guys do. It's great content. I mean, and you nail it. It's relatable. It's real, and it just yeah, random. It's I hope everyone, if nothing else, at least checks out one episode. If you don't listen to the first one, listen to the most recent one. The audio quality is superior in comparison, right? And you guys are just more mature, and you're more, you're more familiar with the equipment, each other,
Right.
just doing the whole thing, and it's cool. And what my goal was to, like, I wanted to talk to you guys because I mean, Joe, I met you before at Axelrad. But I really, I honestly hope, and hopefully I have more than 5 listeners. I hope that people check you guys out based off of this episode. But two things, and we'll wrap things up. I don't want to keep you.
Fair.
It's 11
that's fine.
o'clock. It's 11 o'clock at night. I'm sure you guys have work in the morning and things to do. We talked about the world being crazy.
Yeah.
We are in an election year. What do you see? What do you foresee for our future as far as a country goes, our leadership? I want to get it from the guys who have no filter, who have guns on their wall, who just have just give it to me.
Yeah.
Something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah. I think it's going to unfortunately have to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
Worse.
We
Fuck.
talked. Well, yeah, it can't get any worse. Yeah.
What's going on with overseas?
Not even
That's
just
ruined,
not
man.
even overseas.
Everything's going to fuck.
Yeah, not to discount anything that you're saying, because you're 100% obviously honest about that.
Yeah.
But I feel like just on our home front here, what's going on with the border in Texas,
Terrible.
specifically just recently, that is a huge, like, if that doesn't open people's eyes to the leadership that we have in this country and like how corrupt everything truly is, I feel like that has to be, really, really thought about, and everybody jokes about, drain the swamp and that, that's why I feel like that Trump was a big, and still is a heavy hitter, because he's not the quote unquote quintessential, he's not a politician by trade.
No.
Yeah, he's a businessman by trade. He's going to run the country as a business. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try and Trump train anybody or anything like that. It's just truly how I feel and the way I look at it. And I try and look at things as practically as possible. I try and look at things not biased, and then there's certain things, and that's why I as far as voting and stuff like that, people are all Democrat, Republican, fucking, they'll bleed it until they die. But I can honestly say that I'll agree with certain things on one side of the fence, and I'll agree with certain things on the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
Up until this point, up until Donald Trump was obviously the president, and then now he's coming up for the going to be running again. It's some of the stuff that he said, while yes, he doesn't have a filter, and that's again where we do things and how we hit things doesn't really resonate with certain people, because everybody's so scared. Everybody's got to be so PC.
Yep.
And Donald Trump is not PC. He runs things like a businessman. He tells it how it is. Is he always the most well-versed? No. Are we always the most well-versed? No. But at the same point in time, you're hearing what you need to hear, even though you don't like it. Newsflash, nobody gives a fuck about your feelings. Feelings aren't what make the world go round. It's hard. It's boots on the ground doing legitimate work. So that being said, I myself personally, as Joe from the Slocum Ranch Show, I think it's going to get a little worse before it's got to get better, because with the election and the way the mud's being thrown back and forth, it's
going to get messy.
It's going to get messy. We'll see. Anything can happen, but I feel like there's a lot of people that have been very unhappy with this current representation. So I think there's going to be a switch up. Is it going to be necessarily Donald Trump? I don't know. Obviously, we can't say for sure, but I feel like there's going to be a shift in the leader. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
I really,
I agree. That's right. I'm over smiling.
yeah. I mean, you could add whatever you'd like to add, but that's how I feel about it personally.
Yeah.
I just don't even know. It's it's a disaster in my opinion.
It is.
Joe, you mentioned Donald Trump. I think he did some great things when he was president, but he just couldn't fucking keep his mouth shut, which is a problem.
Yeah.
Yep. But I mean what we've had for the last 4 years, like if you say, yeah, this has been good, I think you might have fucking mental health issues if you say yes,
Yeah,
this is
you're
good.
100%.
You're lying to yourself
And
if
I'm not
you
saying,
can honestly.
yeah, I'm not saying that Trump would have done better. Like I'm not pro
Right.
Trump. I'm not. And I will never claim to be. I mean, I'm a registered Democrat.
Right.
But I mean, I am 100% in the middle, and
Right.
I probably lean more left than right. But like,
Right.
I don't know, man. It's frustrating to see the situation we've been in. It's frustrating to and then you see all these things like you know, the Biden administration finally addressed the fact that the border is a fucking problem, and it's like it took you this long to figure that out. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
It's crazy.
fucking
It really is.
bad. It's bad.
It's sad. Not to cut you off by any means.
Mm,
I apologize.
not at
But
all.
it's sad to say that we are more divided now as a
Yes.
country
Thank you.
than because
Ever before.
and we've said that before in our episodes as well. I think it was actually our Made in America episode, if I remember correctly, that we said, that the 9/11 patriotism, right? So 9/11, 2001, you were graduating high school. You said I was obviously 5, 6 years old. So, the that 9/11 patriotism that everybody had, which wasn't that fucking long ago. It was, realistically speaking, everybody thinks of, oh God, that was forever ago. It really wasn't. It wasn't that long ago. It was 23
No.
years ago. And it's so sad to see now that there were people like we referenced it in our episode. Pat Tillman had a NFL career, and he went over after the towers were attacked. He signed up, went overseas, and ended up dying overseas. He gave his life. He was in the NFL. He was like, how many people in the NFL right now would go and honestly do that? Honest to God, I could probably say there probably isn't any, if at all. Not saying that all guys in the NFL are bad, but I'm just saying like
Right.
that 9/11 patriotism is so lost now. And then the patriotism, people need to stop looking at black, white, brown, Asian, Indian, all different races. We all need to look at it that we're Americans at the end of the day, and that's what's been lost. Is everybody just has to put a label on everything, and it's the label that we should be putting on. It is 100%. Yep.
The media
and
has
they've driven a wedge in between everybody.
Yeah, media, social media, everything. It's fucking sad. It sucks. And I'm glad you said that. I kind of preach that, like, as connected as we are more divided than ever before.
Yep.
It's just it's a fucking shame. And I don't even know what's gonna happen.
It is.
Yeah, it's like
the worst.
This is what we have though. These are the two options that we have. A guy that's been indicted and all that kind of shit, like, and then a guy who can't fucking talk or walk upstairs, like. And I'm not making fun of the guy. I'm not making like.
Yeah.
But that's like if I had a grandfather still alive who was in his 80s, I'd be like, Grandpa, you can't fucking run the fucking country.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. And
what are we
that's
doing?
we keep doing it. It's like pissing in the wind. You're always gonna get fucking hit with it, but you just continue to do it. It's like it's the definition of insanity is like doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Yep.
And that's not to obviously go into the deep left right movement or anything like that, or Democrat Republican, but that Vivek, I'll butcher his last name,
Ramaswamy
but
or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he was a Republican candidate. He was a younger guy, and now whether I don't care if it was Republican or Democrat, but like the younger generation, and I'm not saying that we want a 20-year-old running the country, but like somebody that's not 70, 80 years old, and like all these senators and people that sit in Congress that are in their fucking 90s. Like, are you kidding me, dude? Like, are you serious? Start getting some younger people in there, some younger bloods, not even just younger blood for younger ideas, but just somebody that is a little bit better, better health, better everything. Like just try and get a younger generation in there. But again, it's just for some reason the American people feel like somebody that's in their 70s is a great idea. People like you said, if it was your grandfather or something like that, I know people in their 60s that have had their license pulled because they can't just be trusted to drive. And we got some guy that's
he can't fucking walk.
Yeah, he can't walk and he's running the country. Like.
And
again, not to get into the huge debate or anything like that, but
no.
it's sad.
And I'm not saying Trump is the answer. I will not say that.
No.
And I'm not. I mean, Robert Kennedy Jr. I'm not opposed to that.
Right.
But I mean, he's never going to win.
Yeah, it like I said, it's sad that like you said you hit the nail on the head. The media is the problem.
Yeah.
Media, they all have their agendas. They are solid right wing, they are solid left, and they will, no matter what is said, they will twist it to fit their narrative and then stuff it down the throat of the American people. And that's what gets everybody so fired up. And like you said, we're more connected than we've ever been. We're more divided because of the fact that we're more connected.
Yeah.
It's sad. It really, really is. It's just a nation as a whole. And I'm not saying this has a direct correlation any way, shape, or form with our president or anything like that. But like to touch on real quick is just the fact that like 18 years old, we talked about the 9/11 patriotism.
Yeah.
There are even my grandfather, at 18 years old was joining the military. There's kids at 18 years old now that don't know which bathroom to use. Right. It's just like, it's so screwed up that there were kids storming the beaches of Normandy that were 17, 18 years old. Again, farther in the past than 9/11, but still not that far, not that long ago. And now we can't figure out, what bathroom to use, what gender we are. It's so screwed up. It really, really is.
It's worrisome too. It's just like I don't want to even go down that road. I mean, I do believe that there are people who might be confused, but to allow them to make life-altering permanent decisions at young ages, fuck that.
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible.
Well, as young too, we're just we're influenced. We're malleable. Like we're so influenced.
Everything is driven by emotion.
And we're just influenced by things like the fucking male brain isn't fully formed till they're 25. Like, how are we letting children decide something that's going to affect them permanently for their entire lives? Again, that's probably a discussion for a different day.
Yeah, no, it's deep. It very is, but it's scary.
I'll ask you one more question. We'll wrap things up.
Absolutely.
This will air probably, like I said, 1 to 2 weeks after the event. We'll talk about the big game, the Super Bowl. I don't know if I can get sued for saying Super Bowl or not, but I said it. Chiefs versus 49ers.
Yes, sir.
Again, it is February 8th. We are making predictions. We're talking about things prior to the big game. Who do you guys got?
Ooh, 49ers.
Really?
Yeah.
You're a 49ers? Okay.
I'm not. I mean, fuck them. I'm Steelers guy.
Yeah, we're Steelers fans over here.
Oh boy, okay.
49ers.
Yeah,
I'm an
but
Eagles fan. We fucking laid an egg the last
yeah.
fucking 8 games.
Yeah, my brother's a diehard Eagles fan, and he was puking in his mouth because he lost a whole bunch of money betting on some games there. Because how your guys' season started out was phenomenal, and then how it ended was just
I don't know
dick
how you
shit.
lose. I don't know how you lose 6 of 7 or 7 of 8 when you're start 10-1. I don't know how it's possible, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, we can't say nothing because when I went to my girlfriend Lisa bought for my birthday tickets to go out to it was my first NFL game ever in person was out at Steelers Stadium and we played the Patriots and the Patriots record was 2-11 and the Steelers lost to a 2-11 team. I was like, you got to be shitting me, and here I am to witness it.
Yep. But
But no,
welcome.
I have so you're saying 49ers. I actually am gonna go. I'm a Patrick Mahomes fan, even though I'm not trying to be a bandwagoner, but I mean, because I was really hoping the Lions were gonna make it.
Me
I
too.
was
Me
just
too.
like I was rooting for them, the underdog.
I think it's gonna be close, but I think it's gonna come down to the fourth quarter.
Do you think so?
The 49ers are gonna pull it. Yeah.
I'm gonna say Patrick Mahomes and T Swift. I'm sorry, not T Swift. Kelsey are going to make it happen. I think it's going to
Okay.
be I think it's going to be a Kansas City Chiefs.
So
How about yourself? What are you
even
thinking,
split.
John?
I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. Um, I hope it's a good game as a sports
Yeah,
fan in general. Um,
nobody ever
I
wants to see a blowout at the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
right. I hope it's a good game. I have friends that are 49ers fans. I probably have more friends who are fans of that team than the Chiefs, obviously. I remember when Patrick Mahomes came into the NFL the first year, I'm like, this is a fluke. This guy's a fluke. There's no way. This is and then he's been doing it every year. So I'm like, okay, this is pretty
Yeah.
impressive. And then you have the T Swift effect, right?
The
We
Swifties
have
watching
That's
football now.
well, the funniest thing is, and I love like I didn't care either way. It doesn't bother me. I don't fucking care. The Chiefs aren't my team, so I'm not watching them every weekend. Um, and if you're panning to the booth where she's sitting, I don't care. But there's people
Yeah.
out there who are like, "Oh my God, she's ruining the game." And I'm thinking two things. A, she's not on that much, and then there's been like actual data that says like she's on an average of 25 seconds a game,
Yeah.
which is out of 3 hours, she's on 25
That's
seconds.
nothing.
Nothing, right? But also, dude, it's like if you're a fucking wife or a girlfriend, oh no, I lost the boys in Slocum Ranch. The phone may have died. But what I was gonna say is if your wife or girlfriend now are watching football with you, now they're not nagging you because you've been watching football all day. Now they're watching it with you. So it's good. But I think I may have lost the boys in Slocum Ranch. We've been going for almost 2.5 hours here. They'll be back in a second. Their phone did die. I was worried that was going to happen. But yeah, we'll probably get them back and then we'll wrap up and get going. But I mean, yeah, as far as Super Bowl goes, I hope it's a good game. And if they want to show Taylor Swift, who knows if she'll make it back from Tokyo in time? We have no idea because that's a big issue right now. Will she make it back from Tokyo? She's on tour. Will she make it back? And then will Jason is Jason? Travis, Jason's Eagles, Travis Kelsey, will he propose to her? Big question is, will she get a ring before he does? Who knows? Who knows? I would assume that he'll probably get a ring first. I'm assuming that the Chiefs will probably pull this one out. And I'm thinking because they have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey, and that guy, Pachinko, that guy that they keep saying like he runs like he hates the ground. I think that's probably a good guy to have. Uh, yeah, who knows? Who knows? I just hope it's a good game, and hopefully the nation enjoys watching it. And I hope that these guys get back here soon because I always wonder how like there's the Tim Dillons of the world. There is the Rat King, who I can't think of his fucking real name. The Rat King. They do podcasts on their own, just by themselves. Like they just talk about topics. Like I don't know how to do that. That's not how I operate. It's weird. Um, but yeah, here I am, just trying to fucking push through until the boys in Slocum Ranch get back here to save the day. Hopefully it's sooner than later. But if you're watching, listening, I hope you had a nice Valentine's Day with your significant other. If you're single, I hope you went out. Maybe met a nice guy or girl, went home, did some little Netflix and chilling. But it's like we were saying before, the whole world is interesting. It's an interesting place to be. It's difficult to kind of navigate for sure. It's hard to get all the right information. Um, we're talking about being so connected and so divided. I don't know where to find the right information at these days. It's like, what source is telling the truth? What source is trying to get clicks? Like, how does that all work? How is that um something to navigate? And I just I don't know. I don't know. And I wish I was more active in um, my local political space. Because they always say that, the politics that are close to, like are close to you, the people who are elected in there will eventually move up, move up, move up, move up, and they'll be the officials, in years to come. And I don't know how that works. And I still don't know who's good and who's bad. And you talk about Nancy Pelosi, like I think she just again just recently. Actually, let's take a look. I just saw a report. She like almost doubled or tripled her salary based on a stock tip. Which I mean, how is that not insider trading? Let's just do a real quick search here. Nancy Pelosi. Excuse me. Let's go to news. Here we go. Ooh, nothing's. It was an old story. I'm not seeing anything that pops up about her specifically making money on an investments per se. Police husband, one minister thinks he missed out on this. I don't know. Maybe I was incorrect, or maybe I'm just not writing, looking at the right thing. But I mean, long story short, it is. Oh boy, I better get my charger too. My she's gonna die. So I'll be right back. And we're back.
Oh God, that was brutal.
Seriously, I was like, this is probably one of the longest podcasts that I've done in I don't know how long. I mean, we're
Now we're having a
touching on
good time.
we're touching on 2.5 hours now, minus the
Yeah.
breaks. But I'm at a different angle. I've got a different light here now. I'm trying to connect to the
You
wall
look
here with
great.
my
You look
computer.
you look stunning.
Yes. I don't even know what tangent we were going off on, but
It
Right,
was
Super Bowl.
it was the Super Bowl, and I had the
oh
Chiefs.
yes.
We had asked you about what your prediction was.
I don't know. I don't care. Like I said, I tried actually. I'm like, I should have just like hit pause when you guys disappeared, but I tried to like keep it going on my own. I started talking about how Tim Dillon does it and like Bill Burr. I'm like,
Yeah.
I have no idea how these podcasters like just talk to themselves or talk to nobody because
Yeah.
I was doing a very poor job. When you guys watch this back towards the end when it releases, you'll be like, who this guy? This guy's fucking terrible. But I don't care. I thought Mahomes was a fluke initially. He wasn't, obviously. You got Travis Kelsey.
Oh,
the T Swift story.
Right.
You know who and
Freshie for the end here.
I wonder if he's been getting asked like, you know, who gets a ring first, the Niners or the or T Swift. And he's like, oh, I hope I do first.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and I think
Holy shit.
when you guys were gone, I was talking about like how you know, angry men specifically are that Taylor Swift has infiltrated the NFL, and I think we talked about like, you know, she's been on for like 25 seconds and whatever it was.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
It's not that bad, right? It's and like so part of me okay, so I get two sides of this. Like sometimes football is like a man's thing. Like right, we have that's like time to ourselves. We watch it with the boys, we hang out, we chill, we drink some beers, we yell at the TV, and women are not around, which is great.
Right.
I love that aspect of sports to a degree, right? But maybe your girlfriend or the wife, or like, you know, they hate the fact that you're watching football all day, or they hate the fact that you watch football for an hour.
That we're happy.
That
we're fucking happy.
Yeah. So now they're watching with you. So now it's like, okay, well, this is cool because now I could watch football, and the wife or girlfriend's cool, and it's a match made in heaven. Who knows?
Absolutely. And that's even myself, well, both of us actually. We're into the motocross, and well, this year, because it used to be motocross and supercross with dirt bikes. Now they have super motocross. They brought it back. It's all one point system and everything. And that's one thing that I can say is fortunate. We've had enough of this season alone. We've had a bunch of get-togethers, and you know, all of it. It's the guys, it's the girls, everybody kind of, whether they're into it or not, we just kind of get together and make a party out of it, and we watch the races on Saturday night. So it's nice to have that connection.
Slocum Ranch way.
Yeah, exactly. It's all inclusive. We're not really segregating anybody out of it. You know, even though, like I said, the girls may not be into it, we still enjoy getting together, all of us, and watching it as a big group. You know, a big family. So
Yeah, that's good. No, it's important to kind of gather the crew, whether they love it or not. Like, I mean, I used to watch UFC fights a
right.
lot, invite people over, made a party out of it. Girls didn't care, but they had a good time. They were hanging out with their other girlfriends and eating food and having drinks, and you know, it's a good thing. But
For sure. For sure. Yeah. It's always nice to get everybody together. And whether, like you said, whether or not you're into it, as long as you're there and you're having a good time, that's all that matters.
Around good people, good time.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I wish we got to the end before your phone died and before my computer almost died, because we were we were in the home stretch. We were
That's where
Absolutely.
about to wrap up. Brandon, I know you just cracked a new beverage. I am surprised though that you're a big twisted tea guy.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be, especially in the military. I was stationed down in Texas, so Bud Light was. I mean, like if you didn't drink Bud Light, I mean, you're an outsider. So I mean, I definitely. Well, I mean, we drank when we were 21. You know, we drank drank beer a lot, but you know, when I'm in the military, I mean, that's kind of where my big beer stint went. And then when I got out, I lost the taste for it. And occasionally, I mean, like we were walking around the outdoor show yesterday. Obviously, I had a couple because fucking tea there. But even just, you know, walk around the show, enjoy a couple of beers. But the teas, man, that's my nectar. And if you guys listen to our podcast long enough, you know, I was in the Arnold Palmers, but now we're back to the teas. So
yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like Joe's always been a big beer guy, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah. I tried to get on the whiskey train for a while there, and I just
that's blackout mode.
Yeah.
Or smashing shit. Yeah.
I have a problem with self-control. So when for me to hang out and just like unwind, and that's again another one of our draws for our podcast is that we crack the beers, and that's what we're known for, is just sitting back, and it's the relatable thing for not necessarily just that we're targeting the blue collar kind of guys out there, but we are in a way where it's just like you want to sit down at the end of the day, and I'm not saying it's only limited to blue collar, but you know, we sit down at the end of the day, you want to have a couple beers and just kind of unwind
and knock the dust off.
Yeah, that's our style. That's what we do, and I'm a beer guy myself. I went through the natural light stage when I was in college, and then got realized that it was, I still have a soft spot for Natty. I'm not gonna lie. But then I went to Miller Lite for a while, just kind of like rode that train, and then through a freak kind of way through a friend, started drinking Bush Light, and everybody made fun of me at first. And they're like, "Oh, you're a hillbilly, Bush Light." And then Bush Light stepped up their markeing, and then they did all that wild shit with all the different flavors. And now it's just like, if you're not drinking Bush Light, who are you? So I've been steady with the Bush Lights for a while. I do dabble in the Michelobes. If you guys obviously are seeing this through your through the videos, you'll see that I did have 2 Bush Lights, and then I went to a Michelob. It's just what I had in the fridge. It wasn't anything, planned.
How
but
was your slim can?
that was a slim can.
How did that
Yep,
slim
that was a Michelob.
can treat you?
It was good. It was good. I don't mind the Michelobes. They're not as hard on the tummy. So
if I'm gonna drink beer, it's a Mickey.
Yeah, it doesn't make me feel like complete dog shit the next day. No. So, because when I'm doing it with a purpose for the most part. But I never really got into the craft beers. I know a lot of friends of mine love craft beers. That's all they drink. And I just never got into that high alcohol content game and like the hoppiness and all that shit. I just not for me.
Yeah, when you get to my age, though, you might. So, just start preparing your brain for like 13 years from now.
That's fair.
That sounds crazy to say, right?
Yeah.
But
but
it's
it
like
flies by.
it will, and you'll be like, "Oh man, I remember Popko talking about fucking being 40," and so now it's like, I mean, so I have to be on my game at all times, right? Like,
yeah.
The past like month and a half, my daughter would wake up random hours, like I don't know what's wrong, what's going on. So like I couldn't be like, being, drinking and all that kind of shit.
Yeah,
So
fucking half in the bag.
yeah, so you never know. But when you do have a couple beers, it's like I don't have to, I can't. First of all, I don't drink around my children, and not for any particular reason. I just, it's whatever.
Yeah, but you want to be
it's
present, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's there's no reason like that I don't. It's just like it just kind of just not something I do.
Right.
So, if you get them both down, you clean up the house, you finish the dishes, it's fucking 9 o'clock. There's not much time between 9 o'clock and the time you need to get to bed. So like, I might have a whiskey drink, or I might have a high ABV craft beer, because I can have 2 of them and kind of feel at least a little bit like, because like Joe, what you said, like I don't like, I'm not just drinking a beer to have a beer. I mean,
Right.
I kind of am, but like I also want to at least feel a little something.
Exactly. Yeah, you want to have that loosen up. You want to unwind that a little bit, because that's what people say too. They're like, "Oh, you're just a drunk, or blah blah blah, whatever." And it's like, no, you lose it. You use it to loosen up, and you just kind of like
a little razzle dazzle tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Razzle dazzle.
That's what that Twisted Tea was just drinking, was a razzle dazzle.
Yeah. So, I mean, guys, we could seriously talk literally all night long.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I feel like we could go for another 2 hours if we really wanted to.
Next time I'll come down to Slocum Ranch.
All right.
We'll do it, man.
We'll finish up down at the ranch. Because it's getting late. It's quarter to 12, almost midnight. I don't want to keep you guys up. And I could be up at 3. I could be up at 5. I'm gonna pray for 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna wake up like 6 times in the next 5 hours, so it fucking don't matter.
But no, I love what you guys do. Slocum Ranch Show, streaming everywhere you get your podcast. I think it's a great, just like fucking chill place to be. Like again, the topics are good. The unbiasedness of it all is really great, and again, you guys have good chemistry together. It's enjoyable to listen to. So I'm glad when you had the hiatus, you came back. I'm glad you've been solid ever since. I'm glad you're considering, modifying it and making additions and improvements to what you're currently doing. And I'm excited to see what you guys do next. So
I appreciate you having us on, man. It's
Yeah,
huge.
absolutely. And thank you for that, because it means a lot. You've been doing we have more episodes out than we do, and you've interviewed some pretty high profile people in the music industry and otherwise. So it's for you to say that to us, it really
Huge.
resonates. Thank you. We really do appreciate it. We're glad that you like it.
yeah, it's great. And thank you for the kind words as well. Again, hopefully my 5 listeners will translate to 5 listeners for you. And but yeah, like I said, I'll come down to the ranch and we'll continue this conversation.
Yeah, we'll have a part 2 then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So as far as social media, I know you guys aren't big there. It's an area of improvement for 2024. Where can people find you?
Oh, we're on
Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
You on
Make
TikTok?
sure if you're we do have a TikTok.
You
We have a
start
couple
dancing?
videos
There's some videos on there.
You start dancing?
No, it's not us dancing.
I know. I don't know how to utilize TikTok.
Fans, if you want to check the link out.
You sell your butthole for $5?
15.
Dude,
shit.
Brandon.
Yeah, no.
Brandon, I gotta
the
say.
only thing that the only thing that we ask is that obviously the way we end every episode is to download
Yep.
because as you know as well, I mean, I don't know what you use as your host site or anything like that, but through our Buzzsprout, that's what we see. That's what gets reported to us, and that's if we continue to do this and we continue to make good content.
And a notification bell and staying up to date, because what would we be without
constant,
you guys knowing?
Yeah, constant reminders that the Slocum Ranch is out, even though we're out every Tuesday. But yeah, just to download whatever you're listening on. If it's Spotify, if it's Apple Podcast, if it's Deezer,
we're everywhere.
If it's Amazon Alexa, just to make sure that it's downloaded, because then that is how eventually we take this to the next level and continue to bring good shit.
Yeah. Goddamn Slocum Ranch Show. And Brent, I gotta say, I love some of the yelling that you do.
I like
in the
that.
background. I love it. I love it.
People are 50-50 on it, man, but you have to have a little bit.
Well,
I don't naturally do. I don't naturally do.
I'm kind of curious as to how do you turn completely away from the microphone and yell behind you?
Yeah, usually when I do it, I'll anticipate it, and as I'm doing it, I'll completely just pull away from it, so that way it's not blowing anybody's fucking eardrums out while they're driving.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
For any car accidents.
I love it. I love it. No, guys, seriously, job well done. I hope you continue forward and blow up and add that video to the whole concept, and just keep pushing along. I know it's great for you guys personally and great for others too. So
please, appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
All right, well, I'll be down the ranch soon.
All righty, we'll set it up.
All right, guys, take care.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
See ya.